from Kadah. I like to give thanks to the Most High Yahweh, and to His Son Yahweh Shai. Um, and just like to thank Him for another beautiful day. According to man's time, is the time is early in the morning, 12 a.m. But we know according to the Most High time, the time starts when the sun goes down. But I like to just give thanks to Him and bring another word today. We'll talk about something that the Christian church, the pastors in the churches don't preach on. Before I start, I like to talk about a little bit about my immediate family, brothers and sisters. It's seven of us. For I'm the youngest, I'm the seventh child, and I like to say the blessed one. But today, one of my sisters called me and wanted to talk about the name, the true name of the Son. And I told her, I said, I know we've been taught that his name is Jesus, but that's not the true name. And she was like, well, Mama talked about Jesus. I said, yes, but it still ain't the true name. I said, the name Jesus is only, 400 years, less than 400 years old. And it's very easy now. Anybody who don't know this now, Israelite, these Hebrews, black people, so-called black people, I want you to grab your phone, so go to the library, get a dictionary, and type in when was the letter J, um, when did the letter J come in our alphabet? Now look at this, I hope you can see it. It came in our alphabet in 16, maybe I do it upside down, you can see it better. I don't know. It came in our alphabet in 1634. That's when it came in our alphabet, the letter J. And so his name is not Jesus. And she got all upset, hollering and yelling, and got all mad and said she don't believe that when all you gotta do is put it up on your phone. It's very easy. But the real name, if you look it up in Paleo Hebrew on your phone, or if you use modern day Hebrew, which I don't like to use because it's mixed up with Giddish, with the fake Jews speak. But Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, and the father's name is Yahweh, the son's name is Yahweh Shai. And it's so funny how we as black people are so lazy and we become ignorant. So in other words, some things that we don't know, we can be tricked, yeah. But in this case, we could be so ignorant to the fact that this is what we believe. Now we don't make it right. So that's why he said in the Gospels, I'm talking about Hamashiach, the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, which we will call Jesus. In the Gospels, he said that I come in my Father's name. His Father's name is Yahweh. His name Yahweh Shai. But you won't receive me. Another come in His name, or you will receive Him, and that's what happened to us. People are saying Jesus. I said Jesus. We didn't know no better. But now we got this technology, and you just look up the letter J came in the English alphabet 1634. Just showed you on the phone. So what's name couldn't have been Jesus. I mean, it's really ridiculous. And when you tell people that, they says, "Well, I'm just gonna call on him." Well, I mean, you can do that, but apparently you don't know him when you are not want to find out his real name. You don't want to find out the real thing about him. We gotta water down Jesus from growing up from our oppressors. And it's time for us to stop being lazy, stop being ignorant, and said, my people shall perish because of lack of knowledge. And the lack of knowledge it don't have to be. Just work your mind. There's nothing wrong. And how we, as a people, we so scared to say something about the name Jesus, and it's not even real. It's almost like a black cat walk by and oh, you're gonna die. It's superstitious, and that's the way we act. But his real name is Yahweh Shai. Now, they was talking about things that we're gonna talk about the thing how you notice Christianity don't preach on, especially pastors. They preach that all you gotta do is give your heart to the Messiah and receive him as your Savior, and thou shalt be saved. The Messiah came for the Israelites. It's a point blank. You can read all through the verses. If you go to John 3:16, you know that verse that a lot of people run to. But then when you go to Joel chapter 2, it tells you who the whosoever is from Mount Zion to Jerusalem. He's talking about Israelites. But in Romans chapter 11, it's talking about the grafted in. You know, if you go turn, if you got your Bibles, turn to me to Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11, I'm gonna read it to you. And this is something that a lot of preachers don't preach on. Romans chapter 11, start reading verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, there being a wild olive tree, weren't grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree. And we're going to ask verse 7 and verse 18. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. See, the branches is Israelites, and the grafted in is Gentiles. Now, of course, some brothers, and I really think Paul is talking about lost tribes of Israel that come from the northern kingdom, but because if you look at read these Bible, the New Testament, you can tell how it contradicts itself. However, I'm not going to get on that subject. I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, it's talking about regular Gentiles being grafted in. So it's telling the Gentiles not to boast against Israel. That's why I said boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root. So you're supposed to boast. In other words, you don't supposed to say Israel's been cut off, or you don't supposed to say the church has taken the place of Israel, or Israelites died out, or even be blaspheming to say these people over there in Israel is the true Israelites and don't even fit none of the curses. We as black people, we don't know who Israelites is, but the rest of the world know that we are the true people. But the church is not taught not to boast. You're not supposed to boast. All they taught is you give your heart to God and believe Jesus your Lord and Savior, and thou shalt be saved. But what about this teaching right here? Now listen to this. I'm gonna go to verse 19. Thou would say, and then it's talking about what this is a prophecy, and I was just talking about it. It says, thou would say, then the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. See, they already right here. They boasting. Well, because of the unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith, but not high minded, but fear. You can't be high minded, Gentiles. You're supposed to be fear. And verse 22 goes on to say, it says, for if God, for is Yahweh, which they say God, if Yahweh spare, I'm just going to say God, for if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. And if he broke off the natural branches because they're unbelief and wasn't acting right, and wasn't keeping the law, statute, and commandment, you better take heed. If you're a Gentile, if he broke out his own people, he would cut you off too. Verse 22, behold, therefore, the goodness and servitude of God, of them which failed servitude when we went into slavery because we didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but towards the goodness of, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shall be cut off. So in other words, you got to give us the props, boast against Israelites, and you got to receive us as Israelites, not as black people, not as niggers, not as Negroes, which we was called, not as colored people. But you need to receive us as Israelites. If you want to get into this kingdom, it said, boast not against the branches. So you don't need to be talking about some Christians. Let people. Christianity is not biblical. It's so funny when you see people in the Christian church, because I've been in Christian church and I was one of these people, and they talk about the word and they Christian. If anybody out here is preaching that you have to be a Christian to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh, what y'all call God, you're preaching a lie. This Bible don't tell you that. It's nowhere in there. It's very funny, and then people as a whole become ignorant. Okay, so you got to be saved. Lie. And salvation is, yes, it's saved from the heart, but it also is saved from what's to come. When the Messiah come back, he coming back for war to redeem us, Israel. So if you don't recognize Israel, you're going to be cut off. Now let's go to Zechariah. Now this right here is a prophecy in Zechariah. It's going to tell what's going to happen to you. And this is a prophecy in Zechariah. It's going to tell you what's going to happen afterwards. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 3, verse 6. It says, Zechariah chapter 3, verse 6, it says, I have cut off the nations that I was desolate. I see this, you see that? Cut off, because you got to understand who we are. You got to recognize who we are. Let's go to verse, let's skip over. You can go ahead and keep reading on up to verse 8. It's verse 8. We'll read verse 8. It says, therefore, wait ye upon me, said Yah, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of jealousy. You see that? Because when we failed, the Gentiles took the books, instead of doing the right thing that we supposed to be doing, they had the power to really present that and not to boast against Israelites. But they took the books, changed words in the New Testament, took out words to trick us so we won't find out who we are. And just because they did that, this is a prophecy of what's going to happen to the Gentiles. And listen to what happened in verse 9. Verse 9, this is Zechariah 3. I started at verse 6. Now I'm on verse 8. Now I'm on verse 9. Zechariah chapter 3, verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language. We're going to go back speaking of pure language. That they may all call upon the name of the Most High, which you say, Lord, to serve him with one consent. This is why the name of the Messiah, the Son, is very important. This is why the name of the Most High is very important. This is why we are going to be turned to call him by his real name. And this is why I was trying to tell my sisters today, but she don't want to listen. And it's all you got to do is look on your phone. And I got a brother that's been preaching for 40 years the same way with him. And it's very sad because they're gonna be up in a group of people and they're going to look at them like they some ignorant people. All you got to do is pull it up on your phone and look when did the letter J come in the English alphabet. The letter J is not in the Hebrew alphabet, not in the Greek, and not in the Latin. It's in the English alphabet, and it was put in there in 1634. This is the word of Yah for the people of Yah. Gentiles do not get cut off. Shalom.